Join me as I try to explain the craziest things about modern life that African parents just don't get. Mama Kemi sat on the veranda, her eyes fixed on the street as her teenage son, Tund, walked home from school. She had always believed in discipline, just as her own mother had raised her. Tund, however, was growing up in a different world, one where children questioned authority, where respect was no longer automatic but earned. That day, his school report card was in his hand, and Mama Kemi's heart pounded with expectation. The moment he reached her, she snatched the paper and scanned it. Her face hardened. "B, you got a B in mathematics," she asked, disbelief laced in her tone. Tund lowered his head. "Yes, Mama, it was a hard exam." The slap came before he could finish speaking. "Do you want to be a failure in life? Do you think I suffered for you to bring home a B?" The boy clenched his fists, holding back tears. He wanted to tell her how hard he had studied, how his classmates had scored even lower, but he knew better than to argue. As he walked into the house, Mama Kemi sighed. She loved her son, but love had to be tough. That was the African way, wasn't it? Baba Kemi had watched the exchange between his wife and their son from the corner of the compound. He had grown up under stricter hands. His father never tolerated laziness, and discipline was dished out with a cane. But times were changing. He saw how Tund withdrew from conversations, how he preferred to stay in his room rather than sit with them in the evening. Something was wrong, but what could he do? He was raised to be the firm, unyielding head of the home. That night, as they ate dinner, he cleared his throat. "Tund," he called. The boy looked up cautiously. "How was school today?" The question took Tund by surprise. His father rarely asked about school unless there was trouble. "It was fine, Baba." Baba Kemi nodded and returned to his meal, but in his heart, he knew he needed to do more. He wanted his son to be successful, but did success mean fear? Was there a way to raise a child with respect but without intimidation? Tund sat on his bed, staring at the ceiling, the weight of his mother's expectations and his father's silence pressed down on him. He wanted to talk, to share his struggles, but who would listen? His friends at school had the same complaints: strict parents, high expectations, and no room for mistakes. He sighed, pulling out his phone to scroll through social media. Here, teenagers laughed freely, shared jokes, and talked about their lives in ways he couldn't at home. Mama Kemi knocked on the door. "Tund, come and wash the plates." He sighed again, putting his phone away. "Yes, Mama." As he washed, he overheard his parents talking. "I think you are too hard on him," Baba Kemi said. "Too hard. So he should be soft and useless like these modern children." Mama Kemi scoffed. "He is growing up in a different time," Baba Kemi insisted. "We must find balance." Tund paused, his hands submerged in soapy water. Maybe things could change. Maybe his father would finally understand. That night, Mama Kemi lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Baba Kemi's words echoed in her mind. Was she really being too hard on Tund? She had always believed that strictness built strong men, but the world was changing, and she saw how unhappy her son seemed. She wanted him to succeed, but was she pushing him away? The next morning, she watched as Tund prepared for school. He barely spoke, moving mechanically as if afraid of making a mistake. A pang of guilt stabbed at her. She took a deep breath and did something she had never done before. "Tund," she called softly. He looked up, surprised. "I know I am hard on you, but I want you to understand it's because I love you." Tund nodded, unsure of how to respond. It was a small step, but perhaps it was the beginning of something new. Baba Kemi decided to make an effort to connect with Tund. One evening, he asked him to sit outside with him. "When I was your age," he started, "I feared my father more than anything. But looking back, I wish we had talked more." Tund glanced at him, surprised by the admission. "I don't want you to fear me. I want you to respect me, but also trust me." Tund hesitated before speaking. It's hard. I don't want to disappoint you and Mama." Baba Kemi placed a firm but gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "You are not a disappointment. We just have to understand each other better. For the first time in a long while, Tund felt seen. Maybe things could change after all. Over the next few days, Baba Kemi and Mama Kemi made small but noticeable efforts to change their parenting style. Mama Kemi tried to praise Tund's efforts instead of only pointing out his failures, while Baba Kemi encouraged more open discussions at the dinner table. It felt awkward at first. Change was never easy, but they knew it was necessary. One evening, after dinner, Baba Kemi brought out an old photo album. "Come, Tund," he said, "let me show you what life was like when I was your age." Tund hesitated, then sat beside his father. As they flipped through the pages, Baba Kemi shared stories of his childhood, his struggles, and the lessons he had learned. For the first time, Tund saw his father, not just as a strict disciplinarian, but as a man who had once been a boy like him. One Saturday morning, Mama Kemi surprised Tund by inviting him to help her cook in the kitchen. "I want to teach you how to make a gyusi soup," she said with a smile. Tund blinked in surprise. His mother had never asked for his help with cooking before. "Really?" he asked. "Yes, my son," she said, handing him a wooden spoon. As they cooked together, they laughed and talked, something they hadn't done in a long time. Mama Kemi shared stories about her own childhood, how her mother had raised her, and the struggles she faced growing up. Tund listened intently, realizing that his mother had her own fears and burdens. Later that evening, Baba Kemi called for a family meeting. "We are all learning," he said. "We may not always get it right, but we will keep trying. This family will be built on love and understanding." Tund smiled, feeling a warmth he had not felt in a long time. His parents were changing, and so was he. That night, as he went to bed, he realized that parenting was not about perfection, it was about effort, love, and growth. And for the first time in a while, he felt truly at home. Parenting is a journey filled with challenges, but with love, patience, and understanding, we can raise confident and respectful children. The key is finding balance, honoring our rich traditions while embracing modern parenting techniques that nurture communication and emotional well-being. Remember, it's never too late to strengthen your bond with your child. Every small effort counts, and your love and guidance will shape their future in ways you can't yet imagine. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. We share real-life experiences, lessons, and practical advice to help you navigate the rewarding journey of parenting. What's one parenting lesson you've learned from your own experiences? Let us know in the comments below. Love you all.